In today's video, we'll look at example problems for vectors. Specifically, we'll learn how to calculate if two vectors are parallel and to use information of the midpoint of a vector to determine another vector. In this problem, I need to determine whether two vectors are parallel. So given the points P, Q, R, and S, I need to show that the vectors PQ and RS are parallel. And then it asks, do they have the same direction? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph these. So I'm using GeoGebra right now, but you can use any graphing utility or graphing paper to determine this. So what I would do is I would plot the point P, which is at 2, 1, I'd plot the point Q, which is at 6, 3, and then I want to look at the vector between those as PQ. I'll do the same for R at -2, 3, and at S at -4, 2, and the vector RS. Now, visually I can inspect this and see that while they do appear to be parallel, they're in opposite directions. But I need to prove that they're actually parallel. It'll show that they have the same slopes. So, if I want to look at slope PQ, well, I'll look at the change in y over the change in x. That's 3 minus 1 all over 6 minus 2, change in x, or 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. Now if I want to look at the slope of RS, I'll do the same thing, the change in y over the change in x. So this is 2 minus 3 all over -4 minus a -2. 2 minus 3 is -1. -4 minus -2 is -2. So the slope is 1/2. So I can see now that they have the same slope of 1/2. So they are parallel, but as we've seen from our graph, they are not in the same direction. In this problem, I need to determine the vector from the origin to the midpoint of the vector PQ given the points P and Q. So again, I'll go ahead and I want to graph my points P and Q and then look at the vector from P to Q. And what I'll do then is I need to find the midpoint of that vector, we'll call it M, and the resultant from the origin to that point will be my answer. So the vector from the origin to the midpoint of the vector PQ. We'll go back here, we're looking for the point M, which is my midpoint. So we'll call this the midpoint. Well, that's going to be equal to x1 plus x2 all over 2 and y1 plus y2 all over 2. So it's an average of each of the x and the y components. So in this case, x1 plus x2 is 2 plus -6 all over 2. And the y's are 2 plus 4 over 2. So that point M is located at -4 over 2, comma 6 over 2, which is the same thing as -2, 3. So my midpoint M is at -2, 3. So now I can determine what my vector is from the origin to that point, which will be -2i plus 3j. So now I've determined the vector from the origin to the midpoint M.